better than me. That Zoom is a struggle.
Oh, there's Marvin.
Yeah, no, isn't he? Okay.
Let me try one more time.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Marvin.
Hello.
How's everyone doing?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Really didn't want to go live for you.
I know that we had problem with this.
Maybe it's the
Oh,
weather.
darn.
Shucks.
I know, right?
Doing one tomorrow, we can talk tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it won't let me click go live. So I started recording the video meeting so we can post it.
Okay,
Sorry.
all right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and get started and call the meeting to order, 6:05. I'm gonna call the roll. King Feltner. David Funk.
Here.
Sonia.
Here.
Marvin.
Here.
Ms. Loretta.
Here.
Todd Fitz. Todd.
I'm present.
Present. Do we have Mr. Block in the room?
Here.
Yes.
Black's here.
What? Hey, Mr. Block.
Hey, 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 hey.
You're gonna see a lot of them if we're done for the season.
Oh, very good. Yeah, it's too cold outside. That's why I'm here at the house enjoying this.
Actually, we're pouring fast that for the whole week. It's that road based material.
Okay.
Good. Well, we're going to go ahead and get straight into the agenda for today. As Salome had brought in a couple of you guys for packets, but she also emailed out some attachments, and then we have the agenda here. The first thing on the agenda is to talk about the 2021 initiatives and the social service survey. Marvin and I had a pleasure of meeting with a young lady from Tripod. It was very informative. So I'm going to kick it over to Marvin and see if he can give us a little, what his feedback from that meeting, what he got from that.
Yeah, sure. So we met with one of the representatives from the company Tripod. It's a nonprofit organization, and you can go to the website. It was started by some very smart people. And so when I say smart, I mean there's one guy that helped to start the organization is an MIT grad, the other is a Harvard grad. They're all Ivy Leaguers. And what they've figured out is that there's a very deep need in America for the educational systems in America to understand diversity, equality, and inclusion. And so they call it DEI. So they have a 41 question survey that they offer. They offer this survey to students from 6th grade through 12th grade. They offer that same survey to the parents of those children. And there's also a survey to the faculty that work within the school system. The results of the survey are very good results. They give you really good statistical data to really understand the blind spots that could be, in any of the classrooms here within our city. And so this is a very unique survey that really talks directly to the issues that we're all here to help solve, right? So we had a very long conversation, talked about the survey in depth. She's gonna send that over to us so that we can send it to you so you all can take a look at it. But the very good news about the organization is that they've had some very good funding. They've had some very good feedback. It's backed by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So they have a lot of heavy hitters that have come around the organization, and it's exactly what we had discussed in several of these meetings. This will give us information to really understand, or actually it'll give the faculty members of our schools the data that they need to understand what those blind spots are for the population that they serve. So we're going to have some further meetings with them so that we can hopefully get this done for our city so that we can find out how we can move forward. So what it'll look like is that we would have the survey maybe first quarter of next year. We still have to seek funding for it. But if it does get approved, we'll have the survey, we'll get the data back, and then that'll give the educators, parents time to understand what sets of data we got back. Then based on that data that we get back, we can look at that. Most people are going to come up with action plans to put in place so that we can correct some things if those things are found. Then we do another survey maybe a year later. And then we can see if the statistical data that we got back after the first survey has been improved or the gap has been widened. And so then we have, an annual view of that data set that will give us, very good look at what's happening in our city. This is not for employers. It's more for parents, more for children, within our city, and also the faculty as well.
Do you have a price yet? Like how much we would need to?
So that I included that in the packet. If you would see on page 12 of the packet for Tripod, there is the proposal along with the cost of the survey. It's $16,400. And it also has like a bio, sort of like a mini resume of the individuals conducting the survey. So you always want to know that.
I think it's great. My only concern would be like ensuring we have the school's buy-in that they would actually and or how can we utilize it before we kind of jump into it. I mean, I think we all know it's a need, but we also have these kind of conversations, with David in regards to collaborating or partnering. So do you guys have you thought about reapproaching or, how are we going to, if we give this recommendation to the mayor and to the city council, what's our full plan, I guess?
Well, our full plan is for Mr. Fong to help us out with it. So, he's definitely part of our family here. So we need his invaluable help, and we need to have some meetings, and hopefully we can just deliver this information with, just the understanding that we're all here to help. This is a very good path of making sure that we're helping people in the right way. So we want to partner with not only Troy school system, but also the other schools here in Troy. That would be Troy Christian, that would be the Catholic school here. So they're also part of this same conversation.
So David, what are your thoughts? I mean, again, we talked about this several, I just want to make sure that we're going to be able to actually utilize this survey. I don't want because we've had surveys, and again, I don't want our community to feel like we're just talking and then we can't do anything about it, so to speak. I just don't want to hurt people more. I just want to make sure.
I would certainly speak directly to the superintendent before I would spend $16,000. Just to be completely honest, I would definitely meet with him or talk with him about this before we spend any money on anything. Would be my honest opinion on the matter.
Yeah, and you're gonna have to secure 16.4 from private sources. I mean, that's not,
Right.
I mean, the city just passed the budget, and I think the total budget for HRC was $5,000.
Right. And I mean, again, we all talked about it's definitely needed. I'm not against it. I just don't want to build hope to have it crushed back down.
Yeah, but I think it's sort of a chicken and egg issue that we have to determine, and I think that's kind of what, I think David's exactly right. There's no reason to go to the Troy Foundation and the County Foundation and anybody else who federal funds if the cities or if the schools aren't willing to participate. But the inverse is the school then can say, well, do you have the money? So we really just have to make the determination. Is it a process? I think how when Marvin and I met to sort of put it into the deal, is it's a process that we want to spend 2020 looking at, trying to secure the funding, trying to secure the support, and make it a 2021 action item. I think it's how we wrote it. I don't know, Salome helped write it. Is that how we did it? So I think it's a good thing to talk about it, and I think it's something we should explore. But I think you mentioned to the mayor, I think which isn't ready, it will be ready by tomorrow because it's still in the draft stage. But I think how we perceived it was get the school buy-in, get funding. It's a great idea. These are wonderful people. It would serve the community well. Let's get that. Let's show the need. Let's show what we need to do. And then whichever one we get first, whether it's the funding through an organization, then we can present to the school, hey, we have this commitment contingent upon your buy-in. Or if we can go to the school, we can say we have this contingent upon, we have this contingent upon financing. But I think right now there's just a lot of balls up in the air to try to put that as a next year action.
No, I think that's helpful. I mean, if we don't know what HRC is doing, it's just helpful. I
think
this was.
And I think that's part of what we working on. I think
Right.
tomorrow's meeting hopefully will be very insightful for, and it is kind of amazing all the things that we have really done that there's been a lot of talk, but there's a lot of action items that are actually going to be requested to be implemented. So I think I think when you sit down and look at it, we have a lot of cool things that are moving forward. Marvin, I didn't want to step on your toes. Is that kind of how you understood our conversation last week?
I did. Yes, I did.
So I think we have to, I know Melissa's not here tonight, but she may be here tomorrow, so we can start to reach out. But we got to get commitment from one, because you're not going to get, otherwise it's going to be what we call the empty chair defense. You can always just say, well, this guy's not here. So you got to get the people on board.
Yeah, no, that makes complete sense. Sorry, I think I just needed to catch up with everybody. Sounds like everybody knew.
I think we just had that conversation last week. So that's the problem with these meetings, right? I mean, if this meeting was on Friday, you're going to hear a lot of stuff on Thursday that we've worked on trying to implement, and so it's kind of which one goes forward.
Yeah.
And also, we are planning on inviting Melissa and school's representative, Megan Campbell.
Yeah.
I will reach out and ask them to come and talk about the survey results.
Nice.
So after that, you'll have more understanding what they've studied and what results they have, and then you'll know better what additional survey we need in community. So
Yeah.
I actually spoke to the superintendent about Megan coming, and he said that Superintendent Piper said that he would like to come with her whenever
Sure.
she comes. So, I mean, we'll have them both in one spot. So any questions that we have, and
Sure.
he did say he'd be just because of the Christmas holiday or the holidays, and then coming back, and then we're going to be in hybrid learning, then we're going to go back to full time. He said early February probably works best for that.
Okay.
But he said he definitely wanted to come with her. So, we'll have our chance with two people in one spot at one time. So
thank you. I have not reached out to them because I
Right.
knew that right now it was not a good time to.
right,
So
but
talk
I
to
knew
him.
it was coming, so that's why I mentioned it to him, and he
Thank
said
you.
he would absolutely be amenable. He's like I said, so if you want to send a formal invitation for sometime one of our February meetings, he said he would be there with her as well to help answer.
Thank you.
That's good. That's a good sign. That's good.
Okay, so just based on the conversation and the way it's flowing, I'm hearing that we're going to take this information that Marvin and I retained or obtained from Tripod and presented in our recommendations after we have a conversation with the superintendent? Because I'm trying to understand, when does it happen? And I understand we said we've gotten some things accomplished, but this survey, I highly recommend it be a part of our 2021 goals. I mean, our 21 goals, obviously we're at the end of 20.
Money, Sheree, the problem is you don't have the money yet, and that's.
I understand that part, but
It
if
is
we don't
listed
put
on
it
your
as-
2021 goals. It is
It's listed
there.
as a 2021 goal.
okay, I just want to make sure that we have it documented that that is a goal.
It is. It is.
Okay,
And all the
Thank you.
information you obtained from Tripod, it's there also.
okay, very good.
And so, it's not only Troy City schools, but it's also the other schools here in the city as well. And so we really need to reach out and talk about this as being an option for discussion. So I could see us having several meetings because I think we should be inclusive of everybody in the city. So, both the public and private institutions as well. So I would like us to work on that. And so I know, David, you have a end at Troy City Schools, to help try and set a meeting up. And then I have an end at Troy Christian, and then there's other schools as well. So is there anyone that would like to help set up meetings so that we can talk with these schools about this as a suggestion?
Don't forget, and there's still a contingency of Troy citizens that go to Miami East too. Everything on the east side
That's true.
is Miami East. So you really have 3 school districts. Well, plus the parochial and the private. I mean, you have 2 plus the parochial and the private schools.
So we have Troy, we have Miami East, and then we have Troy Christian.
Christian, St. Patrick's.
Layman, Miami
Layman.
Montessori.
Right.
Thank you, Layman.
Pickwood Catholic, the junior high. There's Troy kids that go there. Not as many anymore now that St. Pat's has a junior high, but I still think there's a small number of Troy students who do attend Pickwood Catholic for junior high.
Okay,
And then there is the Montessori school in Troy as well.
thank you.
Would you consider the Troy students at JVS, or would that be too hard to
No, I think that
cipher through?
should be included.
She said we could survey students from grade 6 to 12, as long as we have, say for instance, everyone in homeroom is surveyed at the same time. There has to be some consistency of when the survey is taken. So for instance, those students that are over there in the juvenile center the survey would have to be conducted around the same time. I know they probably will not all be in the class at the same time, but maybe offered it by the same person or something like that. So it won't be skewed in any way.
Right. And then it'll also be open to the parents of those children as well. So,
Correct. So it's not finalized, but at least with us meeting with this group, getting more information, it gives us a foundation to start building upon the survey and actually saying, hey, we are very serious about learning what are the needs of our students in the city of Troy.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. It's just, we just gotta get the money.
Unfortunately, we don't have an endless amount of money. So.
I think we got some great philanthropy in this community. I'm excited. I think if we get a good presentation, I'm not sweating it too bad. I think we could do pretty well. I think we would surprise ourselves how well we could probably do.
And I think the explanation
Yeah.
is this group was organized to ascertain this exact data.
Yes.
Okay, I mean, that's the mayor wanted us to figure out what the issues were and to present them. So we've had some anecdotal evidence, but we haven't really had a holistic
Right.
global approach to gathering up that information. I hope, sure, I didn't come off as opposed to it. I think it's a great idea. I just don't know it's just, that's a lot of work to get done in a short period of time, because the foundation doesn't, I mean, I think they do quarterly grants, and there may be federal grants that are available, there may be state grants that are available. It's just a matter of, we're gonna have to do some digging to see what funding is available.
I agree. Yeah.
Do you think it would be possible, and I can reach back out to the individual that spoke with us, to maybe have her speak to those stakeholders and to get them to buy in if she present the information, or it doesn't matter if it's just she or he or whatever, but that organization can present the information.
I think that, and
We should have an open forum so we can invite people to come to
And
hear
I'm
it.
sure she may have access to how other people have funded it. I mean, if they're charging 16 grand for the survey, I'm sure that they've had other people use alternate sources than self-funding it.
I
So,
bet there's a state grant. I mean, with all that's going on right now, I bet you there's state money too.
so I think
So-
they would be experts at that too.
So would you be adverse, you being the team or the committee, be adverse to inviting Tripod to the same meeting as the school superintendent and
That's a David question.
Would we have
more
enough
than-
time for all that? We
Yeah.
both said the time.
Yeah.
If the time would allow, I think, I mean, who can sell it better than them, right? So if we could figure out the time,
I think time would be, I just based on, what we saw in terms of speaking to the police department, and this will be the first time where, we have an opportunity to speak to the superintendent. I know that there are a lot of questions that are going to be for he and for Megan both with what's already going on. When you throw another, like I said, I don't know how long that presentation is. I mean, it may be as simple as, I'm sure that they have a video or documents and those sorts of things. I'm sure they have a presentation, an electronic presentation that is also, I mean, as good as they are and as good as they sound, I'm sure they also have an electronic presentation that if we don't have time, we can at least look at that option of sending it along.
And their brochure is pretty
Yeah.
thorough. It tells a lot, so I assume these have been passed out. I don't know. David, do you think, I guess my gut would tell me it's better to have the funding in place before we would go and approach 5 to 6 different school districts asking for their participation. I just think that would convey a stronger message that, hey, we've secured funding for this purpose. Are you willing to participate with us? But you deal with it on a daily basis. If you think it's better to get the participants lined up and then ask the money, I'll kind of defer to your opinion in that regard.
Yeah, I don't know. Anything I say would be a gut feeling and a guess, to be honest with you. And I say, when you talk about that kind of money, I would hate to make a guess on that sort of thing.
That's what I mean. I'd hate to go to all these schools and say, hey, we want to do this. And then, I think it makes, the money is going to be more important than I think the buy-in from the schools. I think the schools, if you have the money and you show the product, these people are going to sell the product, but I think it looks worse for us to get the schools all involved and then say, sorry, we don't have the funding.
I think we should work on funding, timing, right? Isn't the school rough timeline, very rough? About August-ish, maybe the world might come back to some more.
I mean, yeah, if the world is any sorts of back to normal, it would be the third Wednesday in August. Is when
Exactly.
we start.
So like later in the year, how will it be done so it doesn't cause panic, inside the school? So I think just working on those outside things is what probably the school would want to hear. Just by approaching and have the conversation about the bridges training, kind of hearing, where you guys are at and what's on your plate right now. I think it would make sense to do funding, look at timing, and just how would it be implemented to where it would be friendly to the school. Makes sense if we could be working on that. I would be willing to help work on the funding part. If we're to that part where we're gonna, kind of break it down, I would be willing to do that. I would reach out to some schools, for Troy, if we're reaching out to Chris, that's the Troy City Schools, so we wouldn't have to go to the individual schools, but, let's see. Miami East, we have a board member, she's our president, she's a Miami East teacher, so I might be able to find a connection with Miami East.
Is Raypold still who's the superintendent out there? Is it still Todd Raypold?
Todd Rappold, yeah.
Raypold? Yeah.
You know
Yep.
him?
I've had some dealings with him. I mean, I could reach out. I mean, let's see where we go. I would have no problem reaching out to him.
Do you want to do that? And I can just maybe, I feel like if you have a good plan, a couple funders come to mind, but again, I think you just have to have a good plan.
But I think the money's the pivotal key, right?
Well, and yeah.
I mean, especially if we're going to do two of them, you're at $33,000.
No, the cost is one, that is one cost. So the survey, it's, how do you explain it? Like they do the initial survey and then they come back to do the follow-up. It's all one package.
Okay, so
Gotcha.
that's
That's
both
good,
surveys.
yeah.
That's the one, and then the follow-up survey.
Marvin, I'm correct in stating that,
Yeah.
correct?
So
Okay,
like
that's
if
what I
you
thought.
look at page 8 of the document, it goes through, there's a custom DEI survey, then there's custom DEI faculty staff survey, custom DEI parent survey, then there's a custom DEI community survey, right? Each of those are $1,500 each. Then there's a client service and support fee of $2,000, then one-time survey customization fee, one time, is $8,400. So I think future survey administrations will not incur these one-time charges. So when we're giving out another survey, I would say at most we would be looking at $6,000 because it's not clearly stated in here if they're going to charge us for it. I would assume that if we have the same survey that we're using a year later, they would still give us access to that. So I can definitely call back and confirm that with her just to make sure, but we wouldn't be seeing the 8,400. We wouldn't be seeing, I wouldn't suspect that we would be seeing an additional cost since we've already built the 4 surveys for student, faculty, parent, and also the community, right? So I'll double check that with her just to make sure. But again, I want to make sure that we're all clear. We all sat in these meetings week after week, and the main reason that we came up with this is because we felt that you really can't understand how to help a community unless you understand how a community needs help, and so that's what this came from. My thought process is, in the business world, you typically would build a business case on why you need funding. And so that would mean the reverse of what we're doing. The business case would be us going to these entities and saying, here's what we'd like to do. You're a part of this. This is for us to make sure that we don't have any blind spots with thought process on diversity, inclusion, et cetera, et cetera. However, we could also look at this in the sense that we already know what the business case is, right? Which is why we're already here. So it may be that the funding is the right way to go. As I think about that out loud. So the funding, yeah. So we're going to need to get that secured in whatever way we can, and then maybe move forward on it. But we still have to get the schools buy-in as well. So I think we have to do both. I think both are going to be very pivotal in us making sure that this can happen.
I agree, because it's only going to fuel the momentum if you know that we have the school buy-in to raise the money. And then if we know we don't, it's unfortunately going to have to be a realistic look at then how do we get this done a different way or a different approach. So I agree with that. That does make sense. We could split.
Well, and there are some communication cues that are being worked on.
Right,
Because there are two parts of this. One is obviously, again, the global holistic survey, but the other is we need people to feel comfortable for anecdotal stories to come to the HRC, whether it's through an anonymous tip, whether it's through this is what happened to me. And we need to, that's another information gathering source that we have to implement that we haven't really implemented yet. I don't know that the cities had one Kenny came to the first meeting or second meeting, and aside of that, I don't know that we've had a lot of.
Yeah. We got somebody back there who talked to Marvin pretty extensively about her school experience.
Good.
So yeah, there's been a couple people that have
But that's what I'm
approached.
saying, so that
Yeah.
we have to, you've got to build that groundswell too, that
Exactly.
people feel comfortable, that they have a space to be heard.
Yeah. I agree.
Also, on every HRC meeting, you have a minutes for public to come in and speak at the end of each meeting. So everyone is able to come in and
I'll
talk.
be honest, there's some things that I think people feel intimidated to stand in front of the Zoom and to share. So, I mean, food for thought, I wish there was another way that they could also have a voice and not have to be, and some people kind of feel like they might be ostracized by being on Zoom and speaking their truth. And I've heard that from community members.
And I think we're implementing something to do that. There's some literature that Marvin and I talked about that will potentially be out that we can, but we can put out to the community that will have, here's how to reach us, here's some numbers, here's how you can talk to us. I agree with you. I think it's always hard
Yeah.
for people to come. It's hard for people to come and talk to lawyers. It's hard for people to go to.
Hey, Todd, sir, if you wouldn't mind to bring the microphone a little bit closer to you. I'm hearing you, but it's a little mumbled.
Okay, it's probably me. I'm humble. I
Much-
was just saying that we're working on some processes to increase communication so individuals can make issues known to the HRC by putting out some posters and some brochures and some things that we're working on. I think that's part of what we have in our proposal.
Yeah.
So to that end, then I guess what I'm thinking at as far as timing, we're looking at this for the 21-22 school year. Is that the right, David? I don't know the school year calendar. And
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what it sounds like to me. I don't envision this probably being ready. I mean, January, February, we're out in June. I would be surprised if we're able to do this before the start of next school year would be my best guess.
I think that'll be good too, to target the next school year. It's fresh. And so that's what I'll write down here. I don't know if Marvin and Todd had put that in their data point as far as when we're targeting this, but I think if we put a school year 21-22 to it.
I think we targeted, it's targeted for 21, right?
Yes.
And so it would be 21 into 22, I think is what
Okay. All right, I think we beat that topic to death unless somebody else has any more comments.
I just like to say we would need some help contacting the other school members. So we need a volunteer that would be happy to do that. And since Dave, sir, since you're in the educational field, this may be in your wheelhouse.
I think because I'm in the educational field at Troy, I'd prefer to leave other school districts to somebody else, just for that reason.
Why do they not like Troy City Schools?
No, but like I said, I don't want to feel like it's a conflict of interest.
Yeah.
I can reach out. Tell me which ones that you want. I think Todd's gonna do the Miami East, if he knows.
I can reach out to Apple.
So the schools that we need to reach out to would be Troy, which Mr. Fong will handle. And then we have Miami East, Troy Christian. I can handle Troy Christian. Layman, Pickwick Catholic, St. Patrick.
Do St. Pat.
You want to do St. Pat?
Mhm.
I'll do Lane. Who was it? Layman and who?
Layman, Pickwick Catholic, St. Pat, the
Catholic.
Montessori School, and then also the Joint Vocational School.
I can do JVS and I'll do layman.
Okay.
If someone else wants to share the love.
The whole Layman, Pickwick Catholic, St. Pat's thing might be able to be handled with one phone call because they're all kind of together.
Oh, they are.
I would start with Layman and tell them that you also have interest in the other St. Pat's and Pickwick Catholic as well. They're all partner, all kind of under the same umbrella.
So, and I'm not trying to sway the committee, but I thought we were gonna get the money first and then do.
So did
Well, we definitely are going to get the money first, but we need to assign the task as well. So we might as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just trying to put a timeline together, so this would be conversations we would have in July and August with these individuals, is sort of what you're thinking.
I don't know if we want to wait that long to
Yeah. I
the
would.
beginning of this.
Let me rephrase that. This is a conversation we'll have once we have committed people that, I mean, we don't have to have the funds, we just have the commitment that, yeah, the Troy Foundation will fund this, or the Miami County Foundation will fund this, or Harvard and Hope will fund this, or whoever.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. So are we clear? We're good?
No, I'm not. I'm sorry.
No.
Yeah, let me make sure. So we have Dave is going to do Troy. Miami East is going to be done by Todd. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then Pickwick Catholic, St. Pat.
I'll do St. Pat's and JVS. I know the people there.
Okay. All right. And that's
And then Sonia is Lehman.
No, we just heard that layman and all the Saint schools are together. St. Patrick's, layman, that's what David Plum said. So if you're gonna do St. Pat's, you have to start with layman. That's what he just told us. I don't know.
I don't think you have to start with any of them, but my guess is you could probably, and maybe I'm wrong. I haven't been involved in that school system for a little while now, but you could probably start with one of them and see where it goes from there. I'm not guaranteeing anything. I'm saying start with one, and while you're on the phone with them or however you're meeting with them, ask, what about the other sister schools that are also involved? It's been a while since I've been involved with those schools.
the last name on the list would be the Montessori School. So who would like to? And then there's also Cloverleaf, right? Or is that the same school?
I've never heard of it.
No,
I don't know.
isn't there like a Cloverleaf? Hold on.
There's a Miami Valley that some Troy kids go to, but I mean, there's so few, it would it.
So you're giving JVS, right?
St. Pat.
The Miami Montessori School. It's what comes up on the internet. The Overfield School, not Cloverleaf.
Overfield, okay.
Overfield's a preschool.
Overfield is
I'll do
preschool.
Overfield, I'm working
Yeah.
with them already on some stuff, so I'll do Overfield.
Well, they're
Overfield's a preschool. Isn't this survey for 6 through 12?
Yes, it
Yeah.
is.
Correct.
I don't need to worry about Overfield.
pre-preparation.
Okay, I think we have them all covered, at least from what I can see online.
So we'd say Montessori, who's doing Montessori?
The whole, on the water. Or,
Okay, so we're gonna go to our next initiative, and that is the education and stadium program. So I'm going to go to Marvin and Todd to see what did we put forth for, what are we sending forth for the commission?
We made a recommendation to the mayor that be modified and changed. So that's part of our 2021 plan, is for us to find another location for students instead of the stadium. Todd, if you'd like to add anything.
That's right.
Are we recommending where or just find another?
Well, we're recommending that they be part of the school so that they have
Okay.
access to the main building.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yes.
And that is only, that program only pertains to the high school students, correct?
I believe so.
I think so.
Correct.
Can we
No, it's only high school.
It's supposed to be a work study program, so can we also add that they are advocating for those kids to be employed? Is that supposed to be one of the criteria, that they're employed? And they're often not employed, so.
Sonia, can you come a little bit closer to your mic, please?
Yeah, so in regards to that stadium education program, can we also add like ensuring that the kids are employed? Because it's supposed to be a half day so they can go to their job. And often those kids don't have jobs, so they need.
I don't know that that's the case.
Well, I'm speaking from experience. It could have changed, but when my
Yeah,
daughter was here, she was a part of it. This was her experience. So could we just add, if they are partaking in a work study, that we are ensuring that they are finding
Fine, we
employment?
don't want to get that, we're telling the schools how to operate, and I don't think that.
I mean, well, if they're in a program that they work
Here's
study,
what
shouldn't
we
they
read.
be working?
Here's what yeah, but that's like you saying, Todd, you should be working, you should have been in the student tie today instead of wearing a.
I don't think so. If you came to a suit and tie school and you were in a sweater, yeah.
Yeah, but that's up to the mayor didn't put this school together for us to go and say, this is how the school should run their program. Their program should be run by the school.
As
And
a
if we
parent
see-
of the kid that was in
But
that
then you have an
school.
issue as a parent with the
No,
kid.
this is an example is what I'm saying, but it's okay. Never mind. I'll let that go.
Here's what we wrote for that program, is that we wanted Megan Campbell to come and talk to us, and I guess she's gonna come, and that we put that as a potential action item to discuss about in 2020, in our 2021 issue. We wrote it exactly like this. HRC would like Ms. Campbell to discuss the stadium program and have a presentation on the same as well. And I think once we know what all is involved with that, anything else is just supposition. So I don't know that we can do much regarding that, the stadium program until we have the presentation on it. And then we can incorporate it into what we want to tell the mayor or the school that we want to do. But I think we have to be really careful on what our statutory, or Patrick always said, what our ordinance powers are with regard to that. And we do have the power to cooperate with boards of education and formulate developing issues to combat misunderstanding, prejudice, intolerance, and bigotry. And I think we can do that. So I'm not trying to be critical of your concept. I just don't want you to be, I don't think that gives us carte blanche to say, oh, this program is bad, when we haven't even heard why they do it. And David's saying that your understanding and his understanding are different. So my position on the social service, or on the stadium program, would be, we defer that till we hear from the schools, and then we make a recommendation, whether it's something we want, whether it's something we want to address within the confines of our committee.
I believe there are different elements to the program, and I don't think all kids who are there doing the same thing. So there could very well be a work study portion with some of it, but I believe that there's also, that doesn't apply to all the kids at the very least.
You're right, David. different things going on down there. I was just referring to those
Sure.
kids that are
Gotcha.
down there.
Yeah, and part of it's run through the juvenile court too, right? Or in conjunction with the juvenile court.
I would have to find that information out. I couldn't say one way or the other right now, to be honest with you.
I think there is some input in the juvenile court, whether it's just through coordination of people as well. But I think there's some. So my thoughts were, I think we're a little deficient in our understanding of that, and I think we should sort of get some more information before we decide that.
Hey, Todd, Sonia, I would ask if you guys could please keep your microphone a little closer. I don't know if everybody else is having an issue, but I'm
I
having.
can't hear you. What are you saying?
I
Is
said,
that
I'm
better?
asking it. Yeah, thank you. I'm having a very difficult time hearing online, unfortunately.
I'm sorry.
It must be the mask.
Probably.
Definitely.
And so I think what I heard was that we want to wait and speak with Megan Campbell about what's happening there in that room before we make a recommendation, other than just removing it altogether, right, from the stadium.
Or participants. I mean, if Sonia has a personal story, I think
He's already spoke with people that have went to the school. That's, again, I think we're all
Yeah.
in different places in our knowledge base of
Right.
the topic, which is fine. I mean, it happens.
But does anybody know exactly what goes on there? I mean, how long ago was it you were there?
I graduated in 2017.
Okay, that's 2 years.
That thing,
Or 3
for me, most of the people down there were coached to, were asked to, made it feel like it was a good idea for you as a whoever you are in the school system. Everyone there, when I was there, was supposed to have a job, and that was supposed to have.
Hey, I'm sorry. Whoever's speaking, would they mind to come to a microphone, please? Oh, is that Alexis?
Yeah.
Hey,
I graduated in 2017. I was coached to go to the stadium, made it seem like it was a good thing. When I was down there, everyone was supposed to have a job. It was part of how you earn your credit. But not much really goes on down there. Everyone just sits on their computer, so.
Okay, so you guys didn't have a curriculum?
We had, I forget what it's called, we had online homework, and there was 2 teachers down there. They're not even equipped to help us with all the homework that we have. And half the time, people weren't doing all that, and half of them did not have a job. So how did they get all their credit? How did they graduate?
So did you have to turn in papers, or how did that?
They'll ask you if you have a job, and then when you have a job, you show them the paperwork, but they also know when you don't have a job, and they'll make comments that maybe you should get a job, but it's not the requirement, even though it is a requirement to be down there. And from my experience, no one was down there due to court or anything like that.
So if you needed help, was there someone there that could actually help you?
In my opinion, not completely, no.
Okay, so I'm like, we need the lady to come in and tell us exactly what the program is supposed to do, or what it exactly does right now, what they have that is going on right now. And then maybe we can make some decisions on asking, well, first, we want those kids out of there where they're at. What did you think about the place that you were at? Wasn't it a locker room?
Yeah, it's terrible.
And it smelled, didn't it?
Yeah,
Okay.
and not to mention, we had an experience where another student called a friend of mine and me the N-word in front of the teachers. And then they called the principal down and they suspend the victim for her reaction. So it's no different than upstairs. And you don't get any announcements. You're not up to date on what's going on up there. You're completely excluded.
What about lunch? What did you guys do at lunch?
You leave before that.
Oh,
You go home.
So it's half a day?
Half a day, and then you go to work. So how do you get all your credits if you don't have a job?
okay. All right. Yeah, I think we need to definitely have her come in and speak to us and let us know what the curriculum is, if there is a curriculum, if it's different for all the kids of the age group, or if they're freshmen, sophomores, juniors, or seniors, and how does that work? And how do you get points from work? Oh, well,
I have
we need someone to come in and talk to us and let us know exactly what is going on with the program.
And so I think what we've done thus far is just to make a recommendation that there is no class in the locker room. The class should be moved. We're just basically asking that class be moved back in with the general population of the students at Troy High School, within a normal classroom setting. And and then we can talk about the items that would actually come along with that. After we meet with Megan, and then also we can, try and get some thought process on how that could be a little less painful for our students in the city, because it shouldn't be a painful experience. I think that our whole plight here is to make sure that people are being treated fairly. So that's part of the recommendation for at least the year 2020 is to get that fixed.
Yeah.
I think another idea too is to look at how many people that are at the stadium, how many graduate or drop out or go to college, because it's gonna be slim to none.
I had a client's daughter who was flailing, and I took her in for 2 months. And they said she did more work in 2 months than she did the whole year. They actually told me, like, she's not gonna graduate, she's not gonna make it. And it was just a matter of keeping on her and being on the computer and holding her accountable. But at this point, from what I saw and experienced, the accountability is just on the kid, and you can sit there and not do your work as much as you want, and it is what it is. So
It
some
sounds like we have lots of
intervention.
questions. And,
Yeah.
I mean, there's still, I have questions. How do you get there? I mean, there's issues, and I don't want to put this young lady on the spot, but I mean, I'm sure there's some. Yeah, well, and that's what I think there's a question we have to ask is how does that process work? How do you select who goes there? Why is it at that location? Is there alternate places? I agree with Marvin. I don't know why you need to segregate that community.
Yeah, I think
So-
we're all on the same page in regard. Again, I just think we have different experiences with it, which again, is completely okay. So,
I'm
yeah.
sorry, I did, but after.
February?
Mr. Fong said that February.
Yeah,
Okay.
Chris and
Yeah.
her will come together.
Yep, February.
Okay.
Do we have a list of questions that we can submit forward for them to prep, or are they just, David, this is for you, are they just gonna?
No, I think we're definitely having, well, I mean, which is what we did for everybody else, correct? We had a set of questions.
Yep.
In advance, I think would definitely be helpful. I think we should, honestly, I think we should do.
Actually, we did not have set of questions because no one was submitting questions. So I was,
Well, we wanted to hear what
I
they
was
had to say, so-
emailing like there's a few
Because-
questions. Was my understanding what we wanted to hear from the minutes we were writing.
Okay.
But if you want to have more detailed and information from them, and if you come up with the questions and email to me, I'll be, yes.
We can remember questions for that. That sounds like an important area. That we have to
If
look
not,
at.
I can do the same thing I did for previous presenters. I'll just use the minutes and what you talked about and discussed and write a few questions for them.
Probably good.
I think we need to come up with questions. I think this is a little near and dear, right? So we should probably prep for it. Make sure that we're all clear and happy and harmonious during the meeting. No surprises.
So Salome can probably, what she could probably do is build a basis of questions based on the minutes that we've had. And then if you have questions, please submit to Salome. And Salome, are you okay with bumping what others submit to you versus what you have from the minutes?
I can write few questions and then I'll send it to you and ask you add to it if you prefer.
Okay.
Or you could just, when you come up with a question, you can email me and then I'll combine all those questions together.
Well, you know what? How about you email me individually? We don't want to make it a public email or anything. Send me the email questions and I will give it to Salome. If we can have that, let's see, it's the 16th of December, and they're planning on coming in February. I'll give us until the middle part of January, so a month from now, to get all the questions asked. So that'll give them a good bit of time to prep for that meeting. Does that sound reasonable, David?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's completely reasonable.
Okay.
You know, if I could ask a question, is there a formal name for the class that's at the stadium? Is there like a?
There is, and it's an acronym, and I'll be honest, I can never remember what the acronym stands for. And like I said, there are several components to it.
Okay.
So I think there are 2 or 3 different acronyms. I can get that, but I don't know that off the top of my head. But yes, there are different elements to it than I think some. And I know, like I said, that some kids are on different tracks than others, and different curriculums than others is my understanding.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah, the official name is not Stadium Program. That's I mean, that's where it is, and there's no questioning that. I think that's just something, because there are 3 different programs that have, 3 words to each name. I think it's sometimes easier, just so everyone knows what everyone else is talking about.
Gotcha.
We'll put it in the quotation mark.
Do you know the acronym though?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay, no worries.
The one thing I'm learning in schools is schools have a lot of acronyms, a whole lot. So I'm still learning them, I'll be honest.
No worries.
That was a very good discussion, and I think, obviously I'm sitting here looking at our code of ordinance for the HRC and the education of our students, and our, part of our responsibility or part of our duty. So we want to make sure that we represent our students, or not just bring forth the information for the students and the community members as that relates to it. So. The next on the agenda is the training programs. And I'm going to go back to Marvin and Todd, because I want to see, or we want to talk about what was put forth in the initiatives here for the mayor.
I think the training program would yeah, I think the training program is more Sonia. We had put in there, we were talking about the Bridges Out of Poverty training.
That's what you're talking about? Yeah, there is stuff in there for that.
And then the tactical communications. So, in your packet that you have under page 3, I believe, it lists the Bridges Out of Poverty training that was put together by a nonprofit group. Sonia, can you speak to that a little bit more, please?
Yeah, so this was something that we reached out to Troy City Schools, and it's not going to be a go for 2020. Probably not 2021. David, does that sound right to you? Because your in-service rolls into 2021, right?
Correct. And actually, we don't have any real professional development days this school year because of the late start as a result of the pandemic. So actually, there are no professional development days for our faculty left. Everything was used getting online learning ready. So
yes, we possibly could look at 2022 maybe and get it on if we start conversation.
I mean, well, we could even possibly even the 21-22 school year, just because if hopefully, praying, if things get better, we won't need to use the professional development days that we have built into the school year at the beginning of the year to get everybody ready for online learning and that sort of thing. So hopefully 21-22 school year, things will be a little more back to normal in terms of the professional development days for our teachers.
I can reach out to see if we can talk about that far out. Tactical communication, we have 3 facilitators on one of them. We start the Troy Police Department in-service trainings in March. There's 4 of them. And so we'll be doing that, and then we will do the in-service trainings for the sheriff's departments, but their dates aren't set yet. So that's already kind of in motion. The Getting Ahead While Getting Out, that program is going to start on the 8th for females. Due to COVID, we've extended out, so they're going to go into the jail mid-January.
I'm sorry,
am-
sorry, if you don't mind, can you speak at your mic?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm used to being the loudest one in the room. So did you hear about the tactical? I don't need to read. Okay, so the Getting Ahead While Getting Out training, that is for inmates in our jails. The females, the training will start mid-January. We're only going to do 6 inmates at a time. So we had 18 inmates sign up and request. And then we had, per the jail administrator, I think 5 women encouraged, said that I think a couple had been in prison and had actually taken the course. One actually turned herself in because of the curriculum that she did and is working on changing her life as well. So we're super excited about that. So we're looking for 1 more male facilitator if possible. And I think the men are probably going to go in mid to late February. So we will have curriculum running. We are also working with JFS on some grants and talking about how we can be more intentional of having people upon or before release have their birth certificates, things lined up so they can create stability for themselves. So yeah, that's all in motion right now.
May I ask who's funding that training initiative?
Oh, Partners in Hope. Well, who's funding Getting Ahead While Getting Out? That's Partners in Hope. I teach
Okay.
Getting Ahead actually on site at Partners in Hope to our citizens in our town. And so Getting Ahead While Getting Out is curtailed and is actually adopted by all Ohio prisons right now. So we're going to have it in our county jail. So that's all through Partners in Hope. Tactical Communication was funded by the city. There were a few places that funded that. And I don't want to say the wrong thing because I don't do the funding portion of it. So we don't necessarily need, except for if we wanted to still pay for a British training for the school. We're still working on, again, when can that happen?
May I ask- sorry.
Go ahead. No, I just was gonna read what we wrote, but if you wanna go ahead, then I can tell you how we tried to convey it to the.
Is it different than this?
I don't know what you.
Probably. Can you read what you wrote?
Yeah, we wrote, the commission shall encourage TCS to require, well, first we wrote, HRC discussed the purpose and benefits of bridges out of poverty, tactical communications, and getting ahead while getting out. Prisoners reentry model to reduce recidivism through learning, building resource accountability, and collaboration program training. Our action point for 2021 is that the HRC shall encourage the TCS to require bridges out of poverty training for teachers and to secure financial support from outside sponsors to offset this cost. HRC shall continue to coordinate tactical communication training for all Miami County Sheriff and Troy Police Department staff, and will encourage the Miami County Sheriff to continue getting ahead while getting out training. So I think we just consolidated everything that you just said we're doing.
Well, the tactical communication.
No, we can change it. I mean,
I'm
we're
just
gonna
saying,
talk about
because
this
it's
tomorrow.
already
So.
done and it's through Partners in Hope. I don't know.
Because I think that's what we say, training for all Miami County, we are going to encourage tactical communication training for all Miami County Sheriff's and Troy Police Department staff.
Okay.
Isn't that what we want?
Yeah, I mean, they're already doing it. I'm just being honest. They're already doing it.
I know, but the public doesn't know that.
Okay.
And we want to encourage that, right? I mean, I think everybody in this commission thinks that that's something we should continue to do, especially after those of us that went to that training out at the.
Right. I agree. I
grant
just
building.
don't want to blur it that this is the Partners in Hope's already doing it. and
So why are we keeping those then on in the minutes and as your goals and agendas?
the goal was to bring the police department into the tactical communications, right? And or what was it, the bridges out of poverty? And so I think our goal as a HRC was to bring more of, I would say cops, teachers into those trainings, right?
Yeah.
So that's why it was on there.
Okay.
I think we would want that. I mean.
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
saying that we didn't. I'm just-
And I think the city, like you said, I think the city does offer some financial support for that.
for the-
So
Yeah. for
I
the
think we should
tactical.
continue that,
Okay.
and that would be part of, that would be in the envelope of the HRC.
So Todd, you're saying encouraged to continue, right? It's not saying that we're starting it, but it's okay. We're recognizing that it started already, but we want it to continue. Don't stop the training. Is that what we're putting?
Okay, that makes sense.
I think we say we'll continue HRC plan, I'm so old. Hold on. Now I can't believe it. HRC plans on, this is the exact words, HRC plans on coordinating tactical communication training for all Miami County Sheriff and Troy Police Department staff, and will encourage the Miami County Sheriff to conduct getting ahead while getting out training. You'll all get a copy of this. We can mark it up. Nobody, I mean, this isn't a final draft.
Right.
We're just asking, we just gotta get these action points agreed upon so we can put them into the process.
Right.
So I mean,
So as Sonia said, we can take off the sheriff's part, getting ahead, getting out, because they are already doing it. So encouraging it really. If you want to send them a letter and say that it's a great program and you support it and you appreciate what it is
encourage
done.
the
Yes.
So
continuation
really
of
being
it.
like getting people to do bridges is the school, that's like the bread and butter right there, like encouraging, keeping. The city, I'll be honest, the city's been great with it. They've been open. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that.
Did you get an email back, Sheree? I see here that you emailed Partners in Hope. Did you get your email back returned?
Nope.
I got you. No worries. I got you.
Nope. Okay, so we got the wording for you. Todd, did you get your wording for that section?
You just wanted, so we should say encourage continuation. Or
For
encourage,
tactical and getting out, and then
and
definitely
if you want to
encourage the
put
bridges.
Partners in Hope in there, no one's trying to get hurt. I think that's, Salome, you got all that? Salome
Salome is not taking notes.
was our typist.
Oh.
Well, I'll admit I wrote some, but yes, you can change wording as you like, so you'll get the draft. That's what Todd is using his annual report. So I tried to create a draft of annual report from the minutes we had, and so
She did a fantastic job.
Okay, are we good there?
Yes.
All right. So the next initiative is the recruitment and hiring of minority teachers.
This is going to take another meeting with the school system, administrators. I think, again, the whole point is to have a faculty that looks like the people that it serves. And so we had come across some HBCU recruitment strategies that was sent out to everybody. Should have received this in their email, but this is part of our recommendation to the mayor, which will be a recommendation to certainly, the high schools here and also elementary schools in the city. Lots of best practices on how to go after minorities to come work as teachers from the historically Black colleges and universities here in the United States. There's information from the U.S. Department of Labor. So we essentially just came up with a list of how we can make that a whole lot easier for those that need to start looking for those type of future employees at, within the city or within the school system.
So how did we word that? I'm going to go back to the recommendation because I think this is, part of what we're needing to know going into tomorrow. What do we recommend to the mayor for this initiative?
So the action item is basically a diversity goal. Is to see if we can have our faculty and staff match the group of people that they're serving for lots of reasons. And so we looked at disrupting implicit racial bias and other forms of discrimination to improve access, achievement, and wellness for students of color. So if you look at C there, that's was a PowerPoint that was put together by a gentleman that worked at the White House with the Obama administration, which basically covered exactly why we need more teachers that have an ethnic background to work with, the ethnic students for tons of different reasons. So hopefully we've all seen that, we've all read through that, but that's basically the foundation of why there should be a very solid diversity goal, within the city of Troy for all the school systems.
And for the action item, I don't remember exactly how it was put together, but I think we proposed that as a commission, we write a letter to the schools with the empirical data that this has been sort of mined through this organization. Have the historic Black, I get it, HBCU, right? Historic Black colleges and universities have that be sent to them as a recruitment tool. And I don't remember, I don't remember exactly what the language was on that one.
So I understand that we're focusing, and I heard HBCUs mentioned, but what about the other minorities that we have in town? We have a large Hispanic community, I say large, but we have Hispanic community, we have an Asian community. How are we addressing other minority groups within the city of Troy as it relates to this goal? So I don't want, this is just Sheree, I don't want us to put forth and say, this is our recommendation to hire minorities and someone to think that we're only solely narrowly focusing on the Black or African-American communities when there are other communities that are out there that needs our support just as well.
I don't have that one, so I don't know exactly what that one says.
Our schools have a good relationship with like Edison, the Joint Vocational, Sinclair, so maybe we add, I mean, I know teachers don't come out of senior colleges, but you know what I mean? Maybe we follow the track.
Tanya, can you come a little closer to your microphone, please? Sorry.
I think you might need to get some headphones, Marvin.
I might need a hearing aid probably.
I was just basically saying, like, we have a good relationship with like Edison and the JVS, and so maybe if we just follow the track of our students, we could find other diversity as well, wherever they're getting their 4-year degrees from or teaching. We have a prod scholarship that's through the Lincoln Center that supports teachers as well. So maybe they might have a pool of people that they are supporting that are becoming educators. We've had a lot of educators come through the Lincoln Center and maybe work like with the basketball teams at Troy and other things, but not necessarily being able to penetrate the school system or be hired. So maybe we look at those pools of people as well. That was it.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm having a difficult time hearing.
It's
So.
okay, no worries.
And I think just to cover everything, I think that if we look at HBCUs, I think that will cover both Black, Hispanic, as well. And it's not just African Americans, or I should say African descent people that go to these schools. You'll find Asians there as well. It's not just what we would consider to be an African American. So this should certainly serve as a very good inlet for our city. If they really want to help and be a positive change for the community that they're serving, this would be a really good place to start.
All right, I just want to make sure that we have that.
Yep.
That we're all inclusive here, so.
I appreciate that, Sherry.
Right, and the next one is I think the Japanese school, we're tabling that initiative until a later time, because that's a huge undertaking. And I don't think that we have any funding or any ability to address that request.
That was my recollection. Margaret can tell me if we did something different, but I think we punted on that one as well. So into the future.
Sorry.
Did we write an action? We didn't write an action paragraph on that one, or Solomon, you didn't write an action
No.
paragraph.
No, because we haven't discussed anything you would like to do, and I don't.
Because I think there the need was a larger facility. Well,
Yes.
we definitely, yeah. So are those all of the initial initiatives that we placed into the packet for submission to the mayor?
I think there was discussion about a fundraiser, and I think because there was some overlap between both of the committees, there was some discussion about announcements and communication and some ways that we can disseminate the good work of the HRC. And I think I think both of those are action points in the full document, but I don't remember. If you have the whole thing, I don't.
Yes, I have included fundraiser event, and also let me see.
Social media is in there.
Yes.
And I know Kane is not here today, but I know that was one of the requests that he was to get with Lauren regarding the stuffing of the
I wrote build HRC's presence on Troy City website and social media.
Yes. Is that in the initiative packet?
Yes,
Yes.
annual
Okay.
report.
Good job.
That's why I think, I mean, Solomon did yeoman's work on it. When Marvin and I went through it, when we met with them to talk about it and trying to put it together, it really is. There's a lot of stuff, and I think when everyone sees everything,
It is still a draft, so it will be coming to you to review, and commission has to agree to send it in a final draft to submit to mayor and city council. But this is draft, and as I said, I used minutes, and I'm attending all the discussions. So all I heard, I tried to put it together, but also I did not go into details because it's a report, and I could write more, and it's already 4 pages. So, and I tried to show what we already accomplished in 2020 and that what we are planning to do in 2021.
it's phenomenal. It really, and there's probably 15 action things or more.
I have 10.
10.
Yes. But some initiatives have 2 separate, yes, 2 parts in it.
Well, we're getting close. Actually, I've gone over the hour that I typically like to do, but that's okay. I'm sorry that it went long, but I think we had a really good discussion today. Salome, I have one follow-up of the old business with the CLO pay, you know, the business members that came in and presented to us. Were you able to obtain the presentation?
Actually,
from
yes,
them?
and I was going to email you and tell you, I have two presentations. Two of them emailed me, but one didn't want to share the presentation because of some data they had on it. So
Okay,
you know,
proprietary, I understand.
yes. But they said if there's specific thing you would like to know, they would provide it. And I can send you the presentations and you can see, and they'll be happy to answer any questions you have anytime. They said you can reach out anytime and ask anything you like. But because this all becomes public record, but you also have a video and you could refer to it as a resource if you'd like.
And obviously Kane is not here, so I don't get to ask about the announcements if he was able. Do you know if Kane was able to send over any announcements or anything to be placed on the monthly bills?
He has not.
And the fundraiser event, what is that about?
I have an idea for that. I don't know if any of you attended, but last year they had a porch concert. It was on a Saturday. You know what I'm
Porch
talking
Fest?
about? Did
And
you-
Southwest Historic District.
Yeah.
Concert.
They had a porch concert and they had groups from the area perform on their porches. And then they had the library gazebo, a group was there. And then there was another group that wasn't actually on a porch, they were in a yard, but they're local musicians. And actually it was quite good.
Yeah.
Some of them were like really, really, really good. So that might be something we could pick up on and make that one of our things. I mean, all kind of music. They had jazz, they had rock, they had R&B. I think they call it reggaeton or whatever they call it. Anyway, there were all kinds of music. So, you know, you could just listen to all of it. And it was all in the historical district. That might be something we could think about, because remember we said we have a lot of really good homegrown talent. That might be something we could tap into and find out who was running that and maybe doing that as one of our group things. But have them all in one place, but appearing at different
I
times.
can find out who's the contact person for Porch Fest. I can find
Is
that
what it's called,
information. Yes,
Porch Fest?
yes.
Okay.
Was it
I know-
Hayner? I don't know, but I feel like it was Hayner, but I could be wrong.
It might have been him.
Yes, might have been Hayner. That is true.
Yeah, because there was a group on their
Yes.
porch too, and then there was over in the gazebo by the library too, so. Yeah, it might have been them, but they were all over. So that might
But
be
yeah,
something.
Salome, as soon as you find out, if you can get it to myself and Miss Phillips, it sounds like she stuck her hand up to volunteer and help with that. So
Thank you so much.
you're not in the military, but I'm gonna teach you. The first person that speaks up is usually the person that volunteers.
Okay, whatever. I can
No.
do that. I can
But
do
it
that.
sounds like a really good opportunity. I know the focus at that we were looking at is a fundraiser to help do some type of scholarship. So I think that is a good thing. All right, it's 7:27. It is 12:16. Do we want to recess our education and employment meeting until next year?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So when do we want to come back? The first Wednesday is the 6th
Fine for me.
or the 6th of January?
I would prefer a different day, but you can go ahead and meet the 6th with the majority. That works.
Okay, what day are you thinking?
Oh, the following week. That's my daughter's birthday. That's all. So if you can meet, that's completely fine. If that fits the majority of schedule. Okay.
I'm fine to move it. I don't have any issue.
That's fine too.
Okay. So that's fine. That puts about a month, and then I think that's working well. So the next meeting is 13 January 2021 at 6 p.m.
Yeah.
Works for me.
That works.
All right. So it is now 7:29. I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting adjourned.
Oh, hold on. I have one.
Oh, it happens every time.
Sorry. This question is for Salome. We had our human relations meeting on December 3rd. Sean Kinney from Troy Law Enforcement came and presented. Was there a presentation that he gave to send out to us? Because I didn't receive one. So I was just wondering.
No, he did not have any handouts or presentation prepared.
He didn't,
No.
okay. Because he went through his law enforcement agenda, and I wanted to see a copy of that. I had some questions.
So you want to see his notes?
Yeah, because I thought he said that he was going through a document that he had given out to city council.
Oh,
And-
that's the report you already had when he came to present the first time.
I thought
That's the report he was referring to. It's in the meeting packet.
I think he was in regards to what Marvin is talking about is a monthly report that he sends over to the council.
Right.
Because I was going to ask about that same thing.
Like how many stops and that kind of stuff. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, I can find out what was the last one he submitted for the council. I don't know, but I saw he was referring the one he brought. He asked me to include in a meeting packet when he was presenting first time. But I can double check with him, and we also have a council packet, so I can find the last report. You can actually you can see every report they have submitted. It's a public document.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But every council packet, or at least once a month, we have like all the fire runs, all the police runs, all the people who had water that needed to come to. I mean, it's a I don't know, probably 30-page report on everything the city did. So, and those are available probably online, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah, I went through them and didn't see any in the city council packets. So that's why I was asking, because I went and did a deep dive and looked for it. But I could have stuck my nose in the wrong place.
Tonight will probably have or
I can, yes, I can.
we'll get those to you, Marvin. They're pretty easily, they're pretty easily accessible. How's that?
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you very much.
We'll wait like 30 seconds. Somebody else might have something.
One more thing.
So I have packet here. The one we had for Sean's first
That's July,
Present.
August, right?
presentation, yes, July and August, yes. But I can ask him what numbers to use, which months he was using, because he might have used the same document he gave us on the meeting. But I'll talk to Sean tomorrow, Chief. I'll ask Chief tomorrow and I'll let you know.
Marvin, can I ask you something? Did we ever get the letter sent to the mayor concerning the Hispanic lady that came and spoke the one time about getting onto the committee? Have we ever sent her the letter or whatever it was we needed to send so we could get something moving on that?
You're talking in regards to getting her added to our.
Yes, to our group.
I have to jog my memory on that. I know Kane had something to do with it because she's a reference of Kane, right?
Right.
Let me follow up with Kane and then I'll make
Because I know he was saying at the last meeting that she was asking, she was wondering if we were still interested or what. So I think she would be an access to our group.
I'd be happy to have her as part of our group. We just need to get it approved from the mayor. So I don't think that would be that difficult. I just like to talk to Kane. Kane can write the recommendation and then we can get it done.
Okay.
I think the board took a vote on it, didn't we?
Yeah, we
Yes,
can.
we did.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right,
Good job,
then.
Brady.
Welcome. All right, it's 7:30. Hey guys, y'all have a happy holiday, Merry Christmas, Hanukkah, all of that good stuff, Kwanzaa.
Well, we have a meeting tomorrow. Don't forget.
Oh, I forgot, yeah.
Do not leave me alone here.
Well, we'll see you tomorrow.
Okay.
All right,
Bye.
have a good evening, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Good.